Soul Free with Harlan Freeman, your home for sneakers and culture, starts in 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Hey, it's Harlan for Soul Free and Drake TV, and we are here at the Jeffrey Deitch Gallery, New York City, Soho, celebrating 40 years of Wild Style. For those of you who don't know, Wild Style is the first film that really gave us a picture, gave us a snapshot of hip-hop street art culture in New York City, South Bronx, and we are celebrating with an incredible array of artists tonight. I can't wait to see all the work. Let's go. All right, here we are. It's the Wild Style 40th anniversary, and we're here with one of the people who has been documenting the culture for quite a while now. We're here with the one and only Janette Beckman.
Hi there. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I couldn't help but notice when you walked in, obviously Soul Free is a show about sneakers and street culture, and right off the bat, you have the superstar, you have the shell tops on.
I do. And, here's New York for you. Will I wait? Yeah, here it goes. Yeah, I'm actually quite a big fan of Adidas, as we say in England. Mm-hmm. And, I have a famous photo, I don't know if you've ever seen it, of Run DMC that I took in 1984. And they're wearing Adidas, so I'm still wearing them.
I love it, as you should be. And, looking back at, I look at my childhood and my idols, and the fact that you were there with every one of them, from LL Cool J, the Run DMC, the Beastie Boys, and on the flip side, Blondie, and so many other alternative artists. So when I look at photography, there's something that you capture. You capture a vibe in people. You capture, when I'm looking at your photos, it's not just a two-dimensional picture. It's a five-dimensional picture.
Thank you.
How do you go upon getting that feel from artists when you're with them?
I think it's, I came from England before, and I documented, for you guys may not know it, all the punk era. So the Clash, Boy George, Rockabillys, Skinheads, and I think it's a question of treating people with respect and knowing who they are and appreciating music. That's always been my thing. And, as far as sneakers, I mean, back in the day, pretty much all of us were wearing Converse all the time, just straight up Converse back in England, and I definitely was. But, when I came here, I was so into, the new hip-hop culture that was coming, and, it's a whole culture, and you have to, it was new, and it was happening all around on the streets, and it was really exciting to me, and I think as a British woman coming here, people trusted me somehow and respected me. And I was working for these little magazines like The Face in England and Melody Maker. And then I started working for the small labels like Def Jam and Sleeping Bag. And, I would just go out to the Bronx, usually on my own with my camera, and meet up with, Africa Bambaataa. And people, because I wasn't from here, they go, well, what are you doing here? You ain't from here. And I'm like, no, I'm from London. There we go, where's that? Because people didn't travel back in the day. And I think all of this created conversations and an element of trust, and people just seem to open up to me, and I'm lucky that way. Honestly, it's kind of like my superpower.
It really is. Well, you have a very trusting face.
Oh, good.
In New York, we love British accents. And so much of what you did originally in the UK with the alternative artists, the new wave artists, such as the Police and the Clash and all these great artists, I almost feel like the continuation of that groundbreaking sound that happened there in the States was hip-hop. Hip-hop in the early days. I
think they were very similar in a lot of ways because, they both came from really poor economies, like no future for kids, and the starting point of, where a starting point of a song like The Message is very similar to the starting point of a lot of songs from, let's say, The Jam or Sex Pistols. When Johnny Rotten said no future, he really meant there was no future because there were no jobs. And then I come here and it's the exact same thing. So I think, out of people get very inventive when they don't have anything. And they make a lot of the little that they have, and I think both cultures are really, they come from the streets. Mm-hmm. As we all know, style comes from the streets.
100%. 100%. Now with the, I'll just call it the return of vinyl. For a while we had cassette tapes and we had CDs, and artwork was shrunk down to a little piece of this. Now that we have vinyl back again, and you see kids getting into vinyl, what's it like to see some of your, the album covers that you shot? I mean, it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame of album covers, basically. To see a 12-year-old child walking down the street with a Police album under their arm, that's got to be such a great feeling to see your work going on for generation and generation to come.
Well, it's a lot more interesting seeing a kid walking down the street with a cassette.
Right.
And it's 12 inches versus, I can't remember what a cassette is, 6 inches. So, it's for me, it's obviously as a photographer, it's really nice to see your pictures as large as possible. And right now I have an exhibition actually at the Seaport.
Oh, wow.
Where they, in combination with Photoville, have blown up some of my iconic hip-hop pictures 8 foot high. And they're in empty storefront windows, so you can just walk along Fulton Street. And it's so great to see young kids who don't even really maybe know who Run DMC are, but they're kind of posing in front of them. And these people are, the pictures are larger than life. Mm-hmm. And, that's awesome to me. It's really awesome.
We had DMC on the show a couple weeks ago.
Oh, he's a great guy.
He's the best. And he was telling us how he talks at schools, and the kids have no idea who Run DMC is until they play It's Tricky, because it was a TikTok viral.
That's really funny.
Yeah. Thank you, TikTok.
Yeah, I know. I've done a lot of talks in schools, and I'm showing my pictures, and I'm going, y'all know who this is, and I've got LL Cool J up on the screen, and they're looking mystified, and then the teacher goes, that's LL Cool J.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, they don't, he's a movie star now, and more, and they just have no idea who these people are. Whereas I think my generation, we definitely, investigated the history.
100%. So I know you have a lot of people to talk to, but we do have one special question for you tonight.
Uh-oh.
When you look back, as a child, you got your first camera. Who was the one person, who was that instrumental person in your life that kind of helped you follow this path and follow your dreams?
Wow, that's a big question.
Oh, we get a little heavy here.
Right, that's really serious. I think, it was about the time because I went to art school.
Okay.
And I was dying to go to art school. My mom wouldn't let me, because how am I going to make a living as an artist, Same old thing every artist always goes through. And, eventually she let me go. And then I found a little tribe of people, and we all helped each other. Mm-hmm. We all lived in this squat. And, I was taking pictures, everybody was drawing. And I think I've got to say, the art school posse.
Yeah.
That's kind of who it was. And, maybe because my mom was really into art, but she was trying to help me, sustain myself as an adult. Maybe she's the person that finally went, okay, you can go now. So.
Well, I'm very glad you were able to figure it out.
Yeah. Me too. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you, Janette. It's been such a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
And we have Janette Beckman here on Soul Free. Now we're here with Carlo McCormick, the curator of this great show, Wild Style 40 at the Deitch Gallery. Carlos, congratulations, man.
Thank you. It's been a real treat to work with some of these legends and kind of conjure the past between us.
Yeah, what was the process for you like taking all of these great artists, putting them all together? That's a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah, well, that was actually the easy part in some ways of the show, is because the film is so near and dear to everyone. Right. And all these artists, they were kids when this movie was made. We were all young, and thankfully so many of us are still alive, and so many careers have just thrived since then.
Yeah.
So it's really just a way of going, let's bring the community back together. Everyone in this room is friends, and even the ones who are younger, like a KAWS or Gemios, it's like, it's all community, it's all family. So it's like a big block party.
I love it. What was the moment for you while curating the show where you were like, oh my God, I never even thought about that?
Well, I mean, I think what was really gratifying is that this could have been a historical show. Everyone could have been like, yeah, I'll find a piece for you. I'll talk to this collector. And pretty much all the artists who are still alive were like, no, let me do something special. So it was a lot of discovery along the way. A lot of like, oh my God, that's how you reflect on that time.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I got to ask you, now here's a personal question. I mean, my house has a couple of empty walls. Do you think you could redo this?
Yeah, I could. But the funny thing is it wasn't that long ago that all these artists were severely undervalued.
Right.
And it's all kind of changing now. People are like, yo, could you hook me up with your friend? I go, where were you 20 years ago when they really could have used the love?
You're like 500 meant a lot more to him 20 years ago than today.
Exactly.
Well, Charlie, congratulations on an incredible show. Can't wait to see everything tonight. And, I'm going to give you my address so you could come over and,
That's it.
Yeah.
We'll get the whole crew over.
Awesome. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, man.
You got it, brother.
Good luck on the...
All right, once again, we're here at the Jeffrey Deitch Gallery. We're celebrating 40 years of the film Wild Style, and I'm here with my dear friend Chum. Chum, how you feeling today? Good to hear, good to hear. So, Chum, we're all here to celebrate this great movie. Of course, your creator, KAWS, will be here in a little while. If you had to share a message with everybody about the holidays and everything that's going on in the world today, what would it be? I couldn't have said it any better myself. Thank you, Chum. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so we are here with Charlie Ahearn, the creator of this great film, Wild Style. Yes. My brother, man, thank you so much for having us tonight.
And I'm most excited to be part of the team with Carlo that brought this show to fruition, that conceived and brought these artists together, because to me, this is a contemporary expression of that community which Wild Style was in 1980. So people often are talking to me about, oh, isn't it amazing, when Wild Style was made and all this, and I'm saying, but you really have to come and see the show and understand that each of these artists were artists in their own right when we made the movie.
Sure.
And this is an expression of their diversity and their creativity and how they score as Jeffrey Deitch level artists on an international scale.
It must have been something.
If I may get pretentious.
There's no pretentious here. Yeah.
Okay.
Just going back to the making of the film.
Yes, let's do that.
This is really the first film that really brought the whole community together and showed it on a worldwide level. For so many of these artists who were so underground, what was the feeling for them to be seen, if I may, for the first time?
Well, the thing that you have to imagine a moment when there was like the Rapper's Delight, Sugar Hill, released a song called Rapper's Delight.
Sure.
And all the guys in the Bronx who were part of the hip hop, the people the genesis of hip hop in the Bronx, they were like, what the
yeah.
When are we getting our due? And so when I showed up, not long after that, and began talking up to the Cold Crush Brothers and to Busy Bee and to Grand Wizard Theodore and people like this in the Bronx and Grandmaster Flash, who were part of the foundation of the culture of hip hop. They were like, sign me up. It was not like I came with my papers. I didn't have a hat that said director on it. And it was really about, they were like, well, this train is about to leave the station. I'm getting on this train.
Yeah.
If you can dig that.
Absolutely. And there had to be there had to be an initiation process for you with everybody just to earn the trust to take the story and tell the story.
Well, there's aspects to it.
Yeah.
Like when I first saw it, Lady Pink, from 20 feet away, and I just immediately cast her into a significant role in the movie without even asking her. She was 16 at the time. You got to dig this.
Yeah.
And Lee met her that same day for the first time and looked at her and said, she's a graffiti artist. He told that story here and shocked me.
Wow.
What I'm saying is these things happened for the first time, one after another, and Lee did not sign up to make this movie until like a week before we shot the film. So not everybody was like jumping on the train because it was leaving the station. Some people were playing their cards to the side because Lee was like that, which is not the Bronx hip hop scene.
Right.
They were more like jumping in with both boots, and they were, I was doing slideshows in the Bronx and showing them on the wall like as if they were like superstars, which to me they were.
Yeah.
And so that's how it went. And then, of course, the one person I haven't mentioned is Fab Five Freddy. And without his being here, I want to say that it was Fred who kind of sparked the movie with me and said, let's do this movie and bring together the graffiti world that was way over here, the hip-hop world that was over. Not really, though. The whole point was that right under the surface, they were one world.
I love it.
And, you know, everybody in the Bronx hip-hop, they were all painting graffiti when they were in junior high.
Yeah.
But you have Lee Quinones, who is someone who had arrived, you know, I would say in the late 70s at a point which was kind of to the graffiti scene. He had gone through the trains, making hundreds of whole car trains, whole trains of cars.
Incredible.
And so he had reached a point where what was next? And he and Fred were talking about, well, they went to Rome together. So they were cooking up something about making something.
Yeah.
And I just happened to be the person. I was making a film with Kung Fu, and I made a Kung Fu movie in 1978 in Lee's neighborhood and used his murals.
Oh, okay.
So, and put posters of that all over Lee's neighborhood. So this was right in people's faces as something that was happening. It just that the pieces were over there and over there and over there. The pieces were all there.
They just needed to be glued together.
They needed to be brought into a single unit. And once they were there, people couldn't see them again the same way, if I may say. And of course, one could say after watching the movie, you don't see them the same way.
Yeah.
Because at that time, the movie struck people as like they didn't know what they were seeing.
Yeah. And I got to, I know we have a lot to do.
I know, yes.
But
so
I just want to congratulate you.
Thank you.
40 years later,
Thank
this
you.
is still looked upon as the film.
Thank you.
And that's got to be
Thank
such
you.
a great feeling,
It
knowing
is,
that
it
you
is.
have your
And
piece of history.
I am constantly fed in a sense of just the sense of gratitude to the community, of feeling like this is really still happening and it's real, and people's affection for the movie has seemed to only multiply over the years, if I may say it that way.
Well, thank you for being the rainmaker and the great storyteller.
Thank you.
Charlie Ahearn here, Wild Style,
Yes, thank
40th anniversary, Deitch
Thank
Gallery.
you. And we are all here together as artists. I just want to mention that.
Absolutely.
That Futura and Haze and Lee and I have 2 paintings, actually 4 paintings over there. Fred has a painting over here. Lee, Jane Dixon. We're talking about a room
full of artists.
Our family.
I love it.
It's our family. Thank you.
I love it. Happy holidays, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Good
much.
luck on what you're doing.
Thank you. All right, once again, we're here at the celebration for Wild Style, 40 years since that iconic film came out, and we have, I'm gonna call you a legend. I'm gonna call you a legend. We're here with.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Thank you.
All right, we're here with Haze at the Jeffrey Deitch Gallery. My brother, how you feeling tonight?
Feeling great. You know, we're all thrilled to be representing this way in Deitch Gallery for Wild Style.
Yeah.
It's a celebration of not just the work, but our generation of the whole movement.
100%. When you look back at this film, growing up in New York, do you remember like the vibe, that vibe when you first saw your first graffiti piece on a subway? The movie just brings back such memories as a kid growing up here in New York.
Right.
What's your moment in that film where you're like, I remember that, or I remember feeling that way for the first time?
To be honest,
Yeah.
I think it's still the logo and the opening and the animation that really lives in my mind the most. I mean, you know, there were a handful of things that documented graffiti at the time, but this was the fictionalized version, and you know, we all it holds a special place in our heart.
Yeah, I think the logo's pretty good in this film. I think it was nice.
Not bad, and you got all the cells and everything up there to enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, so many iconic designs of yours just live on, from logos for LL Cool J and the Beastie Boys, MTV, everything. The Brooklyn Nets.
You know, we're in the modern era now, bro. Right?
How does it feel as an artist? You know, there's so many different mediums of art, but to see, your art is so attainable for everybody. You know, if you want a piece of Haze art, you can buy a Nets hat for $12. You could also buy an original for, that's such a nice thing.
I love hearing that because honestly, that was always what it was about to me. It was about accessibility, about reaching the largest possible audience. I mean, you know, the world has changed a lot in the 40 years since we had to make these decisions, but one of the things that really attracted me about graphic design and frankly commercialism in the beginning was mass production and, being able to reach such a mass audience. I always felt in some ways that graphic design was a populist medium in a way that was really consistent with where we came from with graffiti. At the time, I felt like it was a choice between commercialism or fine art. Now I don't feel that way so much because these worlds have grown together, and it's allowed us to operate in the fertile soil between the two mediums, I'd say.
And we see a little bit of that in the film. Graffiti art is such a solo thing. You go out in the dark, you do your piece, and then we see in the film, where the character, goes full circle, and now, he becomes a more popular artist. What was that feeling like for you, from going going out, at middle of the night and doing your thing, to all of a sudden, we're on, 10 million album covers?
Look, I think I speak for all of us when I say it was a baptism of fire when we came above ground. I mean, we were used to being sort of behind the curtain and anonymous, and some of us traveled more solo than others or in small crews, and I think it gave us a certain kind of motivation, certain kind of skill set, but I wouldn't say it taught us how to play nice in the sandbox once we got above ground. So there was a whole nother learning curve for us, of sort of not being so selfish, not just being about writing our own name and trying to get off. And I think, if anything represents that, this show does. That, it's sort of a unexpected, phenomenal thing with the culture and the community that even those of us who may have been competition and not necessarily friends when we were younger, over the years we've all learned to really embrace and support each other. And if we're still here, we're still supporting each other. Put it that way.
Love it, man. I love it. So one last question. We do talk a lot about sneakers on the show. Was there one sneaker, either back in the day or today, that you just look at and you're like, wow, I need that pair? What's your shoe?
If I could go back in time and get white on white Pumas with the Yugoslavian bottoms, you know, and I don't know how many people even know what I'm talking about, but they were the soft bottoms, and that was Orchard Street strictly. I've always been a white on white guy, you know. When it's my turn at bat, you know, I kind of stick to my palette, but from back in the day, definitely the Pumas. In the modern world, you know me, I'm Air Force One all day, every day.
Love it, Uptown, baby. Once again, we're with Haze here at the Deitch Gallery. Wild Style 40-year celebration. My brother, thank you so much.
My man, appreciate you, bro.
Love, brother.
Peace, everybody.